Hi, everybody. This is Phil Roos from GrowthWorks here to talk about another in our series of conversations with different cohorts of consumers in light of the pandemic. Today, I'm with Martha Gordon from our team. She's going to talk about some discussions she had with moms with teens. Welcome, Martha, and thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So I have a few questions I wanted to ask you, and I guess I want to start by just hearing what maybe some of the headlines were in terms of things that were on people's minds when you had those discussions, particularly hopes or particularly fears or concerns that they have. And I should point out that a lot has happened in the couple weeks since you had those sessions, most notably the protests, everything that's happened in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder. So obviously that isn't part of this. That would probably worthy of a whole other conversation. But in the time that you did this, what were some of the things you heard, particularly related to the pandemic and how it was affecting people?
Yeah, sure. So this generation, I guess you could really call them a sandwich generation, because right now they're dealing with both their teenage kids and raising their families while also having aging parents who are in that demographic that's really at high risk. So they're concerned about both. That's their biggest concern is are their parents okay? Are their parents taking the precautions they need to stay healthy? If they did get ill, how would they manage, seeing them? And then on the other side, their kids. I mean, their kids are teenagers. They're going through the usual sort of growing up and, social and mental well-being are concerns for their teens and how they're coping with this whole pandemic, and that their whole routine has been thrown out of whack, whether it's school sports, or just, the day-to-day structure of school. So I would say it's really just kind of juggling both of those is really what's on the top of their mind, being in the middle. They're not really concerned about themselves so much as they're worrying about those family members.
No luxury to be concerned about yourself.
Not at this time. But at the same time, job security is also on their mind. So thinking of themselves in that regard, even though most of the people I talk to have pretty secure jobs, there's always that fear that they might be cut, and because you never know in this environment, so that's on their minds as well.
Yeah, great. How about any things they're hopeful for as they either out of the experience they're having now or about how this might end up and the impact it'll have?
Yeah, I would say that some of the positive outcomes, and I think this isn't just for moms with teens, but for most families, is that really valuing that family time that they've got to spend with their kids. As this time of their lives, they're kind of starting to separate from their parents and do things without them, and as they should, sort of becoming more independent. This has been a time for them to really reconnect, and so I think that might be a lasting effect, is kind of valuing that time to connect with their teens and teaching their kids resilience. That came up a lot, like in the face of obstacles, that you can persevere and you can succeed even though you might have a lot of different challenges put in front of you. That's a good lesson that I think all parents want to teach their teens. And so they've kind of been, put in a situation where they've had to deal with a lot of change and adversity really quickly and adapt to it. And that's a skill I think that the teens will continue to have as they go into college and continue their lives.
Yeah, we're curious if people were reporting any changes in the kinds of shopping behavior, things they buy or buy more of, buy less of in products and services. How's that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is that they've stopped buying a lot of those kind of superfluous things, things that are kind of less important to them. They've realized that they're not that important, like going and getting a new outfit for a party or getting makeup or, things just like that seem like not so necessary anymore. And just being your true self and being real and, that's more valued. And so I think that they've realized, like one of my friends and colleagues said, I have never had more money in my pocket because I'm not spending anything right now. I'm just kind of keeping to myself. So I think though there's some other categories that are doing really well, like fitness, like buying home gym equipment, like they're definitely buying more of that. Anything that's to do with cooking, because there's more cooking going on at home. So a lot of technology, any ideas like cooking apps and things like that have been really helpful right now. Meal kit companies, so, you know, Fresh, HelloFresh and Blue Apron, companies like that, that offer a quick solution for food and meals when you get tired of cooking. And I guess I'd say local brands. I think those, for whatever community you're in, I think those brands, there's a real desire to support local business. And so just looking for ways, whatever that local brand might be, whether it's a restaurant in your town or, you know, any other sort of home improvement store that's a local kind of store, there's a real desire to support those businesses knowing the struggles they're going through.
Do you have any general advice for companies or brands who are trying to speak to this audience in the world we live in today, as opposed to 3 months ago?
Yeah, I guess I would say, you know, stay in touch, you know, without overwhelming, but just, this isn't really a time for a lot of new bells and whistles and sort of adding more complexity to people's lives, but is really more a time to emotionally connect with people. So I think just kind of bringing out the true purpose of your company and of your brand and trying to connect with people at a more emotional level versus showing them the new, you know, gadget that you have is really that's what will resonate with people. And I think when this is all over, kind of help people remember who you are. And I think that's what people are listening to right now. It's kind of really more a time to be authentic. And especially, you know, if you're a national brand that maybe doesn't have that local presence, I think there's a real opportunity to kind of show your true colors and just really what your brand is all about and how it's supporting its customers right now.
Yeah, I suppose that's good advice anytime, but particularly in a moment like we're living through right now.
Yeah, and we're seeing some of that, I think, in media. Some companies are really doing a good job, I think, of showing how they're responding to the crisis. And you know, I think that keeping it simple and also that emotional connection, those are the two biggest things.
Okay, great. Martha, thank you so much. This is great stuff, and really appreciate you sharing that with us today.
Sure.
You're doing the work.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Take care.